Hi, I've got a bit of a cough, so at some points during this video, my voice might just give out on me, or I might do a little cough, so apologies for that in advance. What do I want to talk about? I'm one of these strange people, I've got nothing to sell. I just think that the internet should be used for people to share ideas with each other, and I think it's particularly important to share ideas that nobody's going to pay to pay to put out there, because I sort of feel like that's the kind of thing that helps each other out. So the main thing I want to talk about is one of the benefits of not owning a car that you may not be aware of if you do own a car. And firstly, I was just going to say, like, if you need to use a car to get to work, then this is probably not going to help you if you've got a long commute to work every day and the car's your only option. But for some people, they're able to plan their lives by, renting or owning a house near a transport link, and their job enables them to either telecommute or to or to get on a train to go to work. But as someone who hasn't owned a car for 20 years, one of the surprising benefits that I've come across is that you can basically avoid almost all long drives. And this sort of came up again recently because my dad has just moved to Saltburn, which is a little beautiful British coastal town somewhere near Middlesbrough, and I live in Surrey. So I've never been there before, so I was sort of thinking about what we're going to do. And I've got a little table here, and as you can see, the first option that most people would go for, I presume, would be this car only option. And for a lot of people, what that would involve is just hopping in your own car, spending £65 on petrol, driving up there and driving back. But my basic problem with the car only option is that Google Maps thinks it's a 5 hour and 11-minute drive. And my personal experience of doing long drives is that those time predictions are always wildly optimistic, and I would anticipate maybe an hour's delay or more, particularly if we need to stop. And then I'd also anticipate it's a long drive. If I take my kids up there, the chance of me getting all the way up there and all the way back without having to visit a service station and spend money on food is quite small. So for me, the car turns into quite an expensive option. So you've got all these kind of costs here that I think everybody would incur. And then for us, we have the cost of hiring a car. It's £140. And in particular, our local car branch isn't open on a Sunday. So I would have to return the car on a Monday, which means it's an extra day's rental for us. So it comes out at £245 basically. Now, the option that I really like, and I think that a lot of people who own cars, won't be aware of or won't have thought about, is this middle option, which I consider to be the best, which is basically taking the train to some sort of major terminus and then hopping in a hire car from there. So you see that gets, if it's just me, that's £87 for the train, then £104 for the car hire. Then York to Saltburn-on-Sea will require some petrol, so it's £14 on fuel. Brings me to a total cost of £205. I've got a family together rail card, so if I add my kids to that train trip, it adds £1.50 amazingly. So it would take the cost up to £206. And then say if I brought my wife with me, we're looking at £264, which when you take into account the stopping at a service station for food, it's only £20 more expensive. And it's going to save me 4 hours of driving, so 8 hours across the whole weekend, which I think is pretty good. On this trip, it turns out that we're not going to do that. We're just going to get the train all the way because we've looked at the train option. And once you deal with, basically, it just turned out that the train's only at 5 hours, 10 minutes. And that should be a pretty reliable 5 hours, 10 minutes. And then it also, even for all four of us, it comes out quite a bit cheaper than the others. We're going to see somebody up there. They've got a car, so if we need to all bundle into their car, we can probably manage that. This is my basic point. I think one of the problems is if you've got the sunk cost of actually owning a car, you're probably spending at least £2,500 a year on that car, maintaining that asset. So any time you can, you're going to want to use that car. But what that's costing you, in my opinion, is 10 hours of work if you've got a long trip like this sort of trip to see family. Whereas on the train, I can either read a book, or we can get on with a bit of work, or we can have some time with our kids where we can both sit face, we'll get a table seat and we'll sit speaking to each other or playing card games or whatever. And I just think that it's a great shame that because of the way we have such a car dominated mindset, a lot of people are missing out on what can be really nice family time, driving, doing really long drives with either their kids just on screens, or complaining that are we nearly there yet, and stuff like that. So I hope that was helpful. I hope that's given you some food for thought, and I hope if you are in a position to maybe take advantage of something like this, you'll consider it. So thanks a lot. Bye.